house, in the loud house. One boy, 10 girls, wouldn't trade it for the world. Loud, 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 loud house.
Make you Aphrodite, make me one and only.
Hello everyone, I'm Taurean Smith, formerly known as the Loud House Critic. Well, since it's the last day of February, and I got about one more kind of a love interest episode of the Loud House I like to do. Save the date. It's the 30th episode of season 1 of the Loud House. And this episode is very interesting. So this episode begins with Lincoln digging in his ass, and he pulls out a sloppy Joe with a note attached to it. Says, Happy Sloppy Joe Tuesday, lame-o. Signed, Ronnie Ann. And it has a heart onto it. Why do I have a feeling that Lori was right the whole entire time in heavy metal?
When a girl picks on you, that only ever means one thing. She likes you.
Oh boy, nobody says that.
And this causes his buddies, as he can call them, start teasing him about him having a girlfriend. Of course, Lincoln gets fed up with these guys and decides to say this.
She's rude and gross and totally annoying. I'd rather lick the bathroom floor than kiss that weirdo.
Although there's pain in my chest, I still wish you the best if I forget you.
You have just became the new nostalgia critic. I mean, don't you think you might have hurt that girl's feelings saying that too much? But of course, Lincoln doesn't give a shit and thinks that Ronnie Ann's a tough girl on her own. But that starts to change a bit when he comes home and finds Lori.
You monster! What was that for?
Then gets her time of the month again. No. She's just upset because Lincoln made Ronnie Ann cry. Oh, wow. I'm surprised he actually can make a girl cry. But wait, how does Lori even know Ronnie Ann?
Bobby told me right before he broke up with me.
Oh, so sad.
And is that so bad?
Wait, why does Bobby even care for Ronnie Ann?
Because Bobby is literally Ronnie Ann's brother.
Bobby is Ronnie Ann's brother? I knew that. I definitely knew this the whole time. I thought she was being hit by an elevator. Oh, come on, Lori, stop fucking around. Quit acting like it's your time of the month again. We already been through that already once.
Okay. Can I explain something?
You have to make things right with Ronnie Ann.
I would love you if you weren't that so close to Lincoln like that way with that face. By the way, here's a piece of trivia that some of you guys already know, or maybe some of you guys do not know. That sweater that Lori is wearing, you can actually see her wearing it again in Driving Miss Hazy. It's the 5th episode of season 1 of The Loud House. Lincoln decides to think he could try and call Ronnie Ann and just try to apologize, but Lori digressed on that one and tells him that action speaks louder than words. Why do I have a feeling that sounds so right, but then again, it might sound a bit wrong. And plus, Lori decides that Bobby has to see Lincoln be nice to Ronnie Ann.
Which is why we're going on a double date. And you will make her feel like the most special girl in the world!
Screw that. I'd rather be dressing in leggings while I'm singing I'm a Little Teapot and shit and...
I'll go iron my khakis!
Okay, cool it. Is it always May or is it always the beginning of September, your time of the month?
Sorry.
Where's your sense of humor? All right.
That restaurant, John Ron's French Buffet, that sounds like a fictional character like Don John. I think that because the playwright shows how Don John had to pay for his sins, which is what Lincoln has got himself into since he's forced to pay for his own sins, since he made Ronnie Ann cry. All right, I'm going to stop talking and just get this done and over with. So Lori, Bobby, Lincoln, and Ronnie Ann meet up together, and they constantly don't see each other eye to eye at this point. Who else would be here just to try to get the hots for Lori? You guessed it, Clyde McBride. Of course, like a gentleman like Clyde being, he does everything nice for Lori, and he tries to kick Bobby right out of the picture. Jealous much? Lincoln tries to hit so much with Ronnie Ann, but Ronnie Ann's just not buying it. Not being bright as he is. Gee, I can't imagine why. No sooner or later, Lori and Bobby decide to get up from the table and just go to the buffet. And they say the exact same thing together.
It's like we're literally meant to be.
It's like we're literally meant to be.
Ugh, they're so cheesy.
Well, I could see that Lincoln and Ronnie Ann are actually finally getting along since they can both agree on something together. Seeing how these two are getting along so much, Bobby and Lori are back together again. As Babe and Boo Boo Bear. Jeez, I hated to say that. So the two have a nice conversation and get a laugh every once in a while, just mocking their eldest siblings. Just something I kind of like seeing here. But that doesn't help much, though, as much as Lincoln's teasers are actually around here. And yet Lincoln is trying to make so much avoidance about these guys seeing him with Ronnie Ann, so the whole thing doesn't even start all over again. But Lincoln, not being bright as he is, decides to duck and cover on every turn of these guys not seeing him with Ronnie Ann. But for this one, he has to get Clyde's help to help him out on this one. Just as soon as they're almost getting ready to hit freedom straight out to the door, Clyde hears Lori's voice calling him a cute waiter, and Clyde couldn't even fucking resist that, decides to go after her and just do what he has to do. And that's when the problem comes here with Lincoln's so-called friends who tease him a lot and caught him being here wearing khakis, and they see him with Ronnie Ann. And it's when it's all happening all over again.
She is not my girlfriend. Guys, I already told you. Lincoln!
Here's where we enter a gray area.
Lincoln, once again, turns into nostalgia critic and hurts Ronnie Ann's feelings. And Bobby and Lori break up once more again. So Lincoln decides to make a confession to the whole entire restaurant, even to Ronnie Ann. Don't believe me? Listen to what he has to say.
I've said some pretty horrible things about a girl who deserves a lot better. Ronnie Ann, you're really cool and funny, and I've had an awesome time hanging out with you tonight.
Not buying it.
As my sister Lori once told me, actions speak louder than words. So, instead of telling you how great I think you are, well...
Oh boy, this is gonna get interesting now. I give him 6 months. 2 weeks if anything else happens. And Bobby and Lori are once back together again. And Clyde is not happy about this. Back at school, Lincoln's finally getting over the guys teasing him about him and Ronnie Ann. But Ronnie Ann comes in and does...
How dare you kiss me at Jean Juan's French Mex buffet? You are really gross and totally annoying. I'd rather hit the bathroom floor than kiss you. So skip it.
Ouch, though, that's gotta hurt somebody's feelings. Well, at least it wasn't her time of the month, like Lori's has been. I have a feeling that their relationship reminds me of Plucky Duck and Shirley Loon from Tiny Toon Adventures. But as soon as the boys leave, Ronnie Ann throws an ice pack and throws a note to him. She only did it just to stop the teasing from those guys, to leave Lincoln alone. And the note has a heart onto it. Once again, I give him 6 months. Almost 2 to 1 week if anything like this happens again. Because I don't believe their chemistry is going to go together. But Clyde comes in and cheers him up, and just before we could end this, he says one of the much popular Disney lines in this episode. Any guesses where it's from?
I'm ready to know what the people know.
No, anything but that.
Let it blow, at least I don't have...
No, anything but that.
Tale as old as time.
If you guessed Beauty and the Beast, I am great you're actually smart as a Disney fan and know so your characters and the songs, unlike anyone else who don't know that much about Disney. And Lincoln and Clyde finished this episode out by having a Mexican dance, or as I like to call, a fiesta. So Save the Day was a really good episode of The Loud House, which kind of interested me because this is the actual first on-screen debut of Ronnie Ann. Funny, I kind of like this character. Oh, and speaking of, remember when I said in the Loud House episode review of Alice for Love about Lincoln and Ronnie Ann being together? An episode that nearly canceled the Loud House. Like I said, I don't think that's going to happen with their relationship about them being together. I mean, think about it. If Lori marries Bobby, what would that make Ronnie Ann and Lincoln? Considering that Lincoln is the brother to Lori Loud and Ronnie Ann is the sister to Bobby.
Oh, that's grotesque.
Which is why I don't think Ronnie Ann and Lincoln are meant for each other. I'd rather see them as best friends, and somebody might actually turn up with Lincoln eventually. Maybe Stella? Yeah, I think Stella would be better off with Lincoln ever since Lincoln was trying to head off with her in White Hair, where she was first debuted. So save the date. I would give it 9 out of 10 stars because when I first watched the episode, I didn't expect any of this stuff to be so much predictable as any other episode would have. I wasn't expecting Ronnie Ann to actually get her feelings hurt and Lori just breaking down about it and Lori just forcing the shit out of Lincoln to go on a double date with her. He seems to hit it off with Ronnie Ann and Bobby and Lori get back together. Lincoln becomes an asshole and hurts Ronnie Ann's feelings again. Makes up to her, kisses her, and well, you know how the rest was. This was an episode I was the least expecting to be less predictable, unlike the other episodes like Garage Band, Get the Message, No Guts, No Glory, Driving Miss Hazy, and A Tattler's Tale. This was a really good episode, I'll just give it that. That's why it deserves this kind of number. I am Taurean, the Loud House Critic, and hi vey. Let's just get this over with.
Craft inside this tiny space may sound bad.